So I wanted to introduce myself. So I'm Pasquale. I live in Cave Creek, Arizona. It's this small desert town just north of Scottsdale and Phoenix, situated just below the mountain. Today's temperature is a cool and cold 66 or 19 degrees Celsius, which doesn't seem too crazy, but I am wearing pants today. I am a father, husband, and honestly, just like all of you, I am just like everyone else. I am a person who just lives and loves life. I grew up an Italian Catholic kid, and like many of you, I was that kid who had tons of energy, really weird, always seeing things, knowing things, and kind of blurting them out when probably at the most inopportune times. Just sharing that information. I was also that kid that always questioned everything. I would walk around and just if there was something I didn't necessarily agree with or something that didn't make sense, I'd question it. My poor parents had a handful, man. They bless them for all they've done for me, but I was definitely someone who kept them busy. I was pretty fortunate because as I was growing up with all of this, I had my grandmother who really took me under her wing and really began to teach me how to work with all of this stuff that was going on. She taught me little tricks, how to meditate, where and how to trust your intuition, to believe in it. And we're going to do an exercise later that she had taught me that I know is really helpful and beneficial. I started to take my development into my own hands after she passed, and at that point, what I had done was it was the late 80s, early 90s, and there was really no internet, so I was going around to bookstores, libraries, and just absorbing books, meeting people, connecting with different groups, and just gaining knowledge. And what I will tell you is that you grew up in this time where you just started to learn and started to absorb and started to appreciate the things that you really learned about yourself and how to grow. It was a journey, really. Um, my studies eventually brought me to Angel Team and Kyle, and I will tell you, it's been amazing. I'm a founding member. I've been here since day one. I've gone through all the Angel courses, the Ascended Masters. I've gone through um, intuitive intuitive business, angel card mastery. And then last year I added Crystal Energy Guide and began to add that to not only my studies but also my practice. But I did all this like most of you. I was working full time at a corporate job and really raising my kids, building my family, and just being super busy. But this has always been a passion for me: spirituality, growth, really understanding that intuitive side to ourselves that really just makes us different, makes us connect with others, and really brought us, I think, all here to Angel Team. One of the things I will tell you is that I what I love about it is that I have taken this knowledge and not only have I grown myself, but I love sharing it with other light workers, being out there and just sharing it. I've actually had the opportunity here in Arizona to work with a local psychiatrist where really my clientele are light workers who are waking up and helping them just kind of build that spiritual practice, starting to trust and believe themselves when it comes to their intuition and their connections, the angels, the guides, all of that fun stuff. And so as we're getting there, wanted to make sure I introduce myself. I wanted to get into the lesson of trusting your intuition and guidance, and ultimately it's about surrendering. I know this is something that I will tell you I have struggled with. I know that it had challenges not only for Kyle and everyone else, and it really is a journey. It's a practice. It's like anytime you go to the gym, you can't just go to the gym, expect to get on the treadmill and start running at full pace, right? You're gonna run, 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 and you're going to get tired. You need to build up that practice. You need to build up that trust, build up that skill of surrendering, and really start to believe in yourself. Really know that it's there. So as we're getting ourselves ready and situated, I wanted to go ahead and take a moment to call in the angels to help set the intention for today. So if you can, just go ahead and sit comfortably and close your eyes and just switch on that nice, gentle, calm breath. And just begin to focus on that exhale, releasing yourself from the day, releasing from that moment of just trying to connect to that Facebook app or sneaking away so that you can get on this call. Just begin to release yourself. Just begin to feel yourself let go. And as you begin to let go and feel it all, just begin to see this golden sun just begin to rise above you. And as that golden sun is rising, just begin to feel its rays begin to wash through you and just fill you. Allow that energy just to flow through you, just connecting you to that source energy, to that angelic force. Feel your angels begin to step forward. Just begin to feel that energy begin to connect us all together. And as it's connecting us, set that intention. Thank you, angels, for assisting us in trusting our intuition and guiding us to know that only good things will happen to us. And just feel that energy continue to expand. When you're ready, start to feel yourself come back. When you're ready, open your eyes and return. And I'm going to go ahead and check the chat box. Say hello to some of my friends here. Hey, everyone. Yes, Lorna, I am Italian. My parents were born and raised in Bari, Italy. So I grew up with a very, very Italian family, speaking language. English is actually my second language. So now that we're all connected and feeling that energy flow, it feels so great to be so connected to our team, our family, our group. I wanted to start by just asking a couple questions. Do you know when you're receiving guidance, and do you trust it? I'd love to hear what you think in the chat box. Thanks, Laura. Do you know when you're receiving guidance? And do you trust it normally? I know if you're like me, when I had first started out and I was receiving all this information, I didn't know. And oftentimes I surprised myself. I was like, whoa, where did that come from? And why did I shock people with that statement? Or when something used to happen and I would question, I'd be like, did that really happen? Is that real? Did that legit happen? And so you start to question it, right? I will tell you, I believe that we all doubt at first. That when we're receiving that guidance, that we start to doubt that intuitive side. We start to question it, right? We start to really not necessarily trust ourselves, right? Exactly, Tammy. You need to trust more. You need to believe that it's happening. You know, oftentimes we read into it. We start to create stories. I'm so good at that. Seeing what I want to see, not necessarily what it really is, the objective side to it, right? Sometimes I don't believe. There's self-doubt there, right? I think it's very normal when we are connected in that way. Exactly, Sylvia. The inner voice is a lot calmer. True, Stacy. Sometimes yes, and sometimes no. I think it's the truth. It depends on where you're at in your journey, and really what you've received, right? How often you've done it, what you've actually done to receive that information, and who you're sharing with. I think that's a very valid statement. The same. Sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't. And Laura's exactly right. Sometimes you don't even recognize that you're getting the nudge. And that once you do get that nudge, you start to trust it, right? I think when it comes down to it, it's just really accepting and knowing that intuitive side is actually happening, right? And recognizing the signs behind it and really connecting with it, accepting it. Exactly, Teresa. Sometimes it just streams in and you don't know. I'm the same way. Sometimes, like I said, I blurt things out and I'm like, whoa, where did that come from? Um, Trusting it versus the ego, 100%. I've always found that when you start to listen to your ego's always on survival mode. So it's always like super serious. Where intuitive is like gentle, it nudges you in soft ways, it really helps you. Exactly, Julie. Sometimes you don't know who's giving it or where it's coming from. And and sometimes it's not important to define it. I think when it comes down to it, your intuition is your intuition. Whether the guidance comes from the angels, whether it comes from your intuition, that's all open. It's about being open to it and beginning to trust it, right? And trust is the key word because trust is defined as a firm belief in character, right? Strength or truth of someone. So, like, he placed his trust in me. She placed her trust in me. Trust is always that big thing, right? And when we generally talk about trusting others, we really talk about trusting ourselves, right? It's kind of like that self care model. We've never really been taught to go ahead and say, you know what, I trust myself. I do believe in myself. I know it's real, right? Self care is the same way. We're not taught to take care of ourselves, we're taught to take care of others. And so there's a reason why when you're on a plane, and they tell you right before you're taking off, when those oxygen masks come down on the plane, make sure you put it on yourself first, right? It's because we don't know to take care of ourselves first. It's that same with trust. It's trusting ourselves is putting that mask on and saying, okay, I know everything is going to be okay. But what happens is when we don't trust, we end up doubting ourselves, which then creates this magnet of doubt. And that magnet of doubt is oftentimes what kind of counterbalances that intuition, right? It creates that opposite effect. And that's where that doubt just continues to fall into play. And so, really, what I always encourage people to do is take a moment, right? And realize self care, trust, open that up, and then start listening. Let's see what some of the people are saying out. Oh, Stacy, good job in choosing a new house, trusting your gut. That's awesome. Totally true, Nancy. Nancy stating that sometimes they chime in a little late, like when you're starting to turn left and they're telling you to turn right, and a lot of that is just kind of letting go and pulling back a little bit. We're going to go into a little bit of an exercise on that to kind of help with that. 100% true, Jennifer. It is so much easier to get intuitive guidance for other people because you're not emotionally attached to it. It's powerful and true. It's when you start to look at yourself, right? You don't necessarily want to look at yourself. It's that self-care model. We're not taught to do that for ourselves. We're taught to do it for others. So it becomes easier to do it for others. I think it's 100% true. So let's go ahead and do a little exercise. This is an exercise actually that my grandmother had taught me. And really, it was all about trusting your intuition, okay? So during this exercise, I'm gonna walk you through and get you into a meditative state. And what we're going to do is, as you're tapping into your intuition, you're gonna hear me state a statement. I want you to repeat that statement in your mind and notice what you feel. All right, be mindful of your feelings, your physical responses, mental changes, emotional changes, right? It's the same concept as a lie detector test. And so, what we're going to do is we're going to get into that state. And again, I'm going to make a statement, and then I want you to repeat it in your head and feel the energy behind it. So, are you ready? All right, so let's go ahead and get into our place. If you can, put your feet on the ground, feel yourself connecting to that earth. Maybe open up some of those chakras and get some energy moving. And just start to switch on that breath. Start to feel yourself let go. And with each exhale, just feel yourself remove and step away. Just feel yourself begin to release and let go. Start to feel some roots forming, connecting you into the earth. So you become grounded with the earth's light, earth's energy. Allow the earth to remove anything that isn't serving you, all the energy that may be clogging up that intuitive connection. And just get yourself into a peaceful place. And I'm going to start with the first statement. The sky is blue. Be mindful of your feelings, responses. The sun sets in the west. The grass is orange. Birds fly. Dogs meow. The beach is fun. Now feel yourself reconnecting to your breath. Feel yourself begin to step back in. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. And just return when you're ready. So, did you feel any differences? Go ahead and share in the chat box what you felt. Exactly. Kathy, exactly. The wrong answers felt heavy. Nancy, you saw pictures. First one, no, no, no. Second one, a dog laughing. Stacy, it made you chuckle when I said that the grass is orange. Dana, very interesting. You saw visualizations of everything. Bevan, exactly. The false statements made your bright eye twitch. Sylvia, yes, the last one, the beach is fun, was really a subjective one to allow you to have your own answer. Pauline, yes, I remember when my grandmother had done this with me. I would laugh, and then I actually use the same technique with my kids, just in getting them to trust their intuition and getting them to believe in themselves and feel that trust. And so when I do that with them, they also laugh. There's some fun things to it. Nancy, yes. The sky may be gray where you're at today. We're a little gray here in Arizona as well. Julie, yes, the sky and the birds, the beach made you relax and smile, whereas the orange grass and the dog made you laugh. So I think what it comes down to is that when you're in your intuition, right, you felt the energy move. And when you were not in, when you knew that the answer was wrong and was false, you felt the energy kind of not move, right? It became heavy, stale, not as movable, as excitable. It was a little more stagnant. And so what I do is I call this exercise the high and low, which is really similar to what they do in the lie detector test. When you feel the highs, it's always a yes, and when you get the no's, it's always a no, right? And so it's very similar to when you enter a room and you realize or recognize that there's something going on in that room, right? Whether there's a bad energy or someone's in a bad place, right? You start to feel that energy, the highs and the lows of it, right? This exercise was there just to get you to realize and recognize that you are connected to your intuition and that your intuition is guiding you. It's driving you. It's being a part of you, right? And so have faith, trust in it. You know that it's there. It's being truthful because the sky is blue, right? The grass is not orange, and your intuition guided you there, right? You trusted your intuition. And that's what it comes down to, is just really trusting, right? Really realizing that that is what's important. That's part of that journey. Just catching up on some of the chats. So let's go into surrendering, right? Surrendering is somewhat of a difficult topic and can be at times, right? What is surrendering? Give yourself a minute just to think about that. And if you can, list it in the chat box. What is your interpretation of surrendering? What do you see that being? What does that mean to you? I will tell you, for me, when you look up the definition of surrendering, right, it's giving yourself up in favor of another or losing control. Does that sound right to you? Letting go of ego, letting go of control, exactly. Letting go of resistance. Sometimes my problem with the word surrendering is that it really means losing, right? When you surrender, oftentimes people think of a white flag flowing saying, "Oh, I surrender, I surrender." It really isn't about losing, right? It's about trusting that good things are going to happen to you. And so how I define surrendering is a complete acceptance of what is, right? Having faith that everything's going to be okay. It's having that statement. You know what? I trust that it's all going to work out. Exactly. Letting go of outcomes, letting go of resistance. To let go and to trust. Gaining control because you let go. Exactly, Tammy. This is exactly it. Having faith in the universe. Exactly. And so it's that same example, right? When you enter into a room and you enter into the room and you start to feel the energy of the room, right? You know that what you're feeling is true, right? And so by surrendering, you're actually saying, yep, what I know is I'm feeling is accurate, right? I trust that my intuition, my angels, my guides are with me. And I trust that the information I am receiving is there. So I'm going to go ahead and let them take control. Yes. You know, sometimes surrendering is just letting go and letting go to the angels, right? One of the prayers that I say that we talk about in Angel Team often is when you wake up in the morning saying, "Thank you, angels. I surrender my day to you knowing only good things will happen to me." I say that every morning. And when I do it, I feel myself let go and just know, you know what? I'm not going to lead the day. I'm going to be a part of the day, right? I'm going to live in the moment and be a part of it. I'm going to continue to be there and be a part of that. What are other ways that you can surrender or trust? I know some of you had said just saying thank you, right? Knowing that when something is coming through and you're feeling that and you're getting that information, just saying thank you. Thank you that I've received that. Thank you for that information, right? Or acknowledging that it's intuition. One of the people that I mentor, when she's getting into her intuitive state, she oftentimes instead of acknowledging intuition, and I tell her, hey, great job, you did great. She's like, oh, it was just gas. No, 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 no. It wasn't coincidence. It actually happened, right? You were connecting. You had surrendered and gotten that information. Uh, crystals will absolutely help you to surrender, right? Having faith and knowing that something else is there to help. Keeping your vibes high is one of my favorite. Kyle wrote one of the best books, Raising Your Vibration. It completely helps you know how to raise those vibes, right? There are hundreds of examples in Angel Team in the section where you can go through and actually learn how to raise your vibes. And what I always tell people is, you know what? When you're in a space and you're starting to feel like you aren't trusting or you're in that dark space where the ego's kind of gotten you in control, go out there and raise your vibes. Do something that makes you happy. Do something to help you let go and just move forward, right? And do what's right for you. I'll tell you, for me here in Arizona, I'm out in the mountains, I'm hiking. So when I start to feel myself under that weather, I go and I hike. Tammy sang chanting. I think that's amazing, awesome. You know, meditating, bike riding, whatever it is, whatever gets your vibration up, that often helps you let go and start surrendering, right? Knowing that you're safe is a big one. Believing that you're safe and trusting that you're safe. And I'll tell you, for me, I sometimes realize that when I'm not surrendering or trusting, I start to create stories. Stories of what that really means or the reasons behind it, right? There's no story, it's true. And so when you start to feel yourself creating that story, go, you know what? I'm going to surrender. I'm not going to create that story. That doesn't need to be happening. And I will tell you, for me, my favorite saying that I state all the time, yes, having a dance party. Aisling, I hope I said that correctly. Having a dance party is amazing. It's a great way to raise your vibes. I love that. I will jump around, sing and dance all the time. Get your fire moving, get your energy flowing, get you reconnected. One of my favorite ways of really setting up the intention or really releasing and kind of surrendering is I just state the fact, only good things happen to me. That is the intention I state. So when I'm in a situation where people are like, well, is that going to happen? Or is that real? Or what was that? I'm like, you know what? Only good things happen to me. So I trust, right? I know that it's going to happen. Self-service, yes, exactly. Self-care is huge. So important. You know, it's one of the big ones, is just really taking care of yourself. Again, it's connected to us trusting, right? We're not taught to trust ourselves, just like we're not taught to take care of ourselves. So I will tell you, when I receive guidance, I typically follow a simple little acronym. It's accept, let go, believe, and announce. ALBA. Accept what you're receiving. Let go of whatever is holding you back. Believe what you're receiving, and then announce it. Just state it. Don't worry about what you're going to state. Just state it, right? You may not always understand what your intuition, your guidance is telling you, but you got to trust that it's real. You got to surrender to it and trust what you are receiving, right? And so I will tell you, I once had a client that I was working with who her mother had passed away suddenly, and she couldn't find the key to the safety deposit box. And this was really a big journey for her. And so we were in our session together, and we were chatting and connecting. And I kept seeing a clock, and I'm going, a clock? What is there a clock there for? She's looking for a key. And so I finally was telling this client, I was like, listen, I feel like, is your mom connected to a clock? And it took her a minute. She's like, yeah, actually, she has a clock that she had given me. It's hanging on my wall. And I'm like, you should check inside the clock because there may be something within there that will get you that key to that safety deposit box. That's where they're telling me it's at. And so, having said that, it's what opened up that gate to allowing me to see the key inside the clock, right? But when I had first gotten the information, it was like, the clock, what does the clock have to do with the key, right? I accepted the information. I let go of what I was thinking. I stopped thinking about it. I believed that what they were showing me clock was real, and I just said it. Tell me about the clock. Alba. And so it helps just to get into that state of just believing yourself. How's everyone feeling out there? So, this is my mentor lesson for today. My name is Pascual Lacrata. I'm a spiritual coach here in Cave Creek, Arizona. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook and my website, thepeacefulsage.com. I'm grateful to be here, part of your journey. I am looking forward to seeing everyone over the next 2 Sundays with Kyle, both at the activation and our final meeting in 2021. And I'll be around Facebook for a little while after this live to answer any questions. Hope you're all doing well. It was so great to connect with you, and I really look forward to chat. Bye.